The girl I trusted with everything in EA was the same person who destroyed it. This isn't some movie, no villain monologue, no dramatic soundtrack. Just a regular girl from Ohio who learned the hardest lesson of her life from the person sitting right next to her. Her name was Jessica. Well, let's call her Jess. Jess was 21, junior year at a state university. Nothing fancy. Shared a 2-bedroom apartment with a girl she'd known since freshman orientation. That girl's name, let's say Kayla. Now, Jess wasn't the loudest person in the room. She wasn't trying to be. She was the kind of girl who remembered your coffee order, who'd drive 40 minutes at 2 a.m. because you called her crying. She didn't post about it, didn't need credit. She just showed up. And Kayla was magnetic, you know the type. Walked into a room and the room adjusted to her. Funny, sharp. Always knew what to say. People gravitated toward her and she knew it. She wasn't mean about it. At least, not at first. They met move-in day, freshman year. Kayla locked herself out of her dorm. Jess let her use her phone. That was it. That was the beginning. And for almost 3 years, they were inseparable. I mean, genuinely inseparable. Late-night drives to Walmart for no reason, studying on each other's beds with laptop chargers tangled together, crying on the bathroom floor over boys who didn't deserve the tears. Jess told Kayla things she hadn't even told her own mother, about her dad leaving, about the anxiety she hid behind her smile, about the guy in her bio class she liked but was too scared to talk to. Kayla listened, every single time. And Jess thought, this is it. This is the friend people write about, the one you stand next to at each other's weddings, the one you call first when life falls apart. She called her my person. Kayla called her the same. Now, here's where it gets complicated, because betrayal doesn't show up wearing a name tag. It doesn't announce itself. It creeps. Junior year, Jess got accepted into a competitive communications internship. Big deal. Hundreds of applicants. She worked her tail off for it. When she told Kayla, there was a pause. Just a beat too long, then a smile, then, "Oh, wow, that's crazy. I didn't even know you applied." Jess brushed it off. Then a few weeks later, Kayla started making these little comments. Nothing you could point to in a courtroom, but you'd feel them. "Must be nice having everything just fall in your lap. You're so lucky you don't overthink things like I do. I mean, I could have applied too. I just didn't feel like it." Little paper cuts, one by one. And Jess, she did what a lot of people do. She made excuses. She's just stressed. She didn't mean it like that. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. She wasn't being too sensitive. Then things started getting weird. Remember that guy from bio class, the one Jess liked? She told Kayla about him in confidence. Middle of the night, under the blankets, please don't tell anyone kind of confidence. Suddenly, Kayla was showing up where he was. Study groups Jess didn't know about. Instagram stories at the same coffee shop. And when Jess brought it up, "What? I'm not allowed to have friends?" Jess backed off, because that's what she did. She backed off. She didn't want to be that girl, the jealous friend, the dramatic one. But it kept going. Kayla started hanging out with Jess's internship supervisor outside of work, getting lunch, texting. Jess found out through someone else. Not from Kayla, from someone else. And still, she told herself it was nothing. The night it all broke was a Thursday. Jess was at a small get-together, nothing major, maybe 15 people in someone's apartment. She walked into the kitchen to grab a drink, and the conversation stopped. Not gradually, it stopped, like someone hit pause on a remote. 2 girls from her program were standing there. One of them couldn't even look at her. Turns out Kayla had told people about Jess's dad, about him leaving, about the panic attacks, about stuff Jess had whispered in the dark, thinking it was sacred. But she didn't just tell people, she repackaged it, made it sound like Jess was unstable, fragile, not really cut out for the internship. Framed it like concern. "I'm just worried about her, you know." Jess stood in that kitchen holding a red Solo cup and felt the floor tilt. She didn't scream, didn't cause a scene. She just set the cup down, walked out, drove home, and sat in the parking lot for 45 minutes, engine off, hands on the steering wheel, not crying, just sitting there. Because it wasn't a stranger. It wasn't some enemy. It was Kayla, her person. And that's what made it so much worse. The next few weeks were ugly. Not cinematic ugly, real ugly. Jess stopped going out, stopped answering texts. She'd sit in class and wonder who else knew. Who else had heard her worst moments retold by someone who was supposed to protect them? She started second-guessing everything, every friendship, every conversation. Did I say too much? Did I trust too fast? Was I stupid? She wasn't stupid. She was human. But try telling yourself that at 3 a.m. when the ceiling is staring back at you and you can't figure out where it all went wrong. The worst part, Kayla never apologized. Not really. She sent a text that said, "I think you're overreacting. I was literally just venting. You know I love you." That text sat unanswered for 6 days. On the 7th day, Jess deleted the entire conversation. 3 years of messages. Gone. Now here's the part people skip in stories like this. The boring part, the part nobody posts about. Jess didn't have some overnight transformation. There was no glow-up montage, no revenge moment, no dramatic confrontation where she won. She just started showing up for herself quietly. She started going to the campus gym, not to look good, to feel something other than numb. She bought a planner, wrote down 3 things every morning. Just 3 things she wanted to get done that day. Small stuff. Go to class, eat actual food, call mom. She started sitting alone at lunch. And at first, it was terrifying. Then it was okay. Then it was kind of peaceful. She told her academic advisor what happened. Not for sympathy, just to explain why her performance had dipped. The advisor listened, didn't judge. Said, "You're not the first person to sit in that chair with this story." That one sentence cracked something open. She started learning something she'd never been taught. Boundaries. Not walls, boundaries. The difference between letting someone in and handing someone a weapon. Kayla tried to come back. Of course she did. About 2 months later, a text, then a voicemail, then a casual run-in at their old coffee spot that didn't feel casual at all. "I miss you. Things aren't the same without you." And you know what? She probably did miss her. That's the complicated part. People can hurt you and still miss you. Both things can be true. But Jess didn't go back. Not out of anger, not out of spite. She just didn't have room for it anymore. She'd spent 2 months rebuilding something Kayla had kicked over, and she wasn't about to set it on the floor again. She didn't curse her out, didn't write a long paragraph. She just said, "I wish you well, but I can't do this anymore." And she meant it. Last I heard, Jess finished that internship, graduated on time, made a few new friends, not a squad and not a group chat with a name, just a few real ones, the kind who earn trust instead of demanding it. She doesn't talk about Kayla much anymore, not because it doesn't still sting sometimes. It does, but because she learned something most people don't learn until way later in life. Not everyone who says "I love you" means "I'll protect you." Some people study your cracks so they know exactly where to press. Losing her didn't break me. It showed me who I should never become. Look, if any part of the story felt familiar, or if you're sitting there right now, thinking about someone who knows too much about you and does too little to deserve it, pay attention. Not to their words, to the pattern. Because loyalty isn't loud, it's consistent. And if someone's love makes you feel smaller, that's not love. That's control in a costume. Set the boundary, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Self-respect will always outweigh blind trust, always.